I've shared this many times before, but I'm going to share it with you again. I always have this phrase. If you persist and insist, guys, if you persist and insist, she won't resist, okay? Try it out. It worked for me. When I was 13 years old, I was living at home because I had no other choice. And my sister was in college. And, I have never told this story publicly, and I was thinking about it this week. It's because I have repressed the memory for so deep down inside. So I'm going to try to attempt to tell you the story today. When I was 13 years old, my sister was in college. She was in Andrews University, a church college in Berrien Springs, Michigan. And my parents decided they wanted to surprise her and visit her for the long weekend. And so, being 13 years old, I had no other choice but to go with them. So we went to Berrien Springs, and as we went, we visited her. We had a wonderful time. It was a wonderful city. There's so much to do out there. It's just lovely. And as we were there, my sister, one Sunday morning, we were driving around, my sister said, "Do you guys know that Muhammed Ali lives here in downtown?" Muhammed Ali. Now, my dad is like straight up first generation Indian. The only people he knows is Gandhi and Mother Teresa. So I was like shocked when he was like, "Muhammad Ali?" And my sister said, "Yeah, he lives like right here. I've seen like where the gates are. Do you want to see where it is?" And we're like, "Sure." So we like drove. We had this like ghetto van, okay? So we had this van humming along, Berrien Springs, muffler blowing out, get in front of the gate, and there's just this monstrous gate, this huge wall. My sister's like, "Behind there, I hear Muhammad Ali lives." Well, on that day, Sunday morning at around 7:45 in the morning, the gates were wide open. And before we knew it, my dad went, and like just gunned right past the gates. The gardeners kind of looked past, and we're like, "Daddy, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Goes down this long driveway. There's this like big white farmhouse. Right in front of the farmhouse is, no joke, like this gold Rolls Royce. He pulls in front of the Rolls Royce. "Kumar, come with me." "No!" He gets out of the car. Nobody answers. Nobody answers. Finally, this woman, gorgeous, most amazing woman I've ever seen in my life, other than Reggie Dixon, gorgeous, opens the door. Gorgeous. It's Muhammad Ali's mother-in-law. And she has this bathrobe on. She's like, "Can I help you?" And my dad, who has a very thick accent, put the thicker accent on. And he says, "I've come all the way from India just to see Muhammad Ali." Now, this lady's looking at our license plate that clearly says Ohio, okay? And she says, "Well, I'm sorry, but, it's 7:50 in the morning. He's asleep." My dad said, "Well, I'm not leaving. We're not going. We have to see him." So she was very sweet, and she said, "Come back," because I'm sure she knew she was going to close the gates. "Come back." Like he wakes up around 10. My dad said, "Okay." So we get back in the car. Now, we need to get back to Ohio. For 3 hours, we drove around Berrien Springs. Went to the McDonald's, went back to the McDonald's, went across the street to that little apple market or something or another. 3 hours, 10 o'clock in the morning, my dad gets back in the car and drives straight to Muhammad Ali's house. And I don't know if this was just a gift from God, but the gates were wide open. And he gunned it again. The gardeners are farther down the way. They're kind of looking at him, gets in front of the house, and starts knocking again, this time for about 10 minutes. Gets in the van. We're like, "Okay, thank God we're leaving." Starts honking. Honk, 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 honk. At this point, my sister's watching online to make sure I tell the story accurately. At this point, We all, like, this is a van, like, fall down into the ground in the van, okay? Hiding. He gets back out of the car, starts knocking. The door opens. Same beautiful woman. Opens the door, she's smiling. I just cannot believe this guy. She says, you know, he just woke up, he heard your honking. Give him about 10 minutes. So we waited for 10 minutes. Then we waited for 20 minutes. Then we waited for 30 minutes. Then we waited for 40 minutes, okay? Just waiting outside, just standing around like, what are they going to do? Like, shoot us? Like, what's going to happen here? And out of nowhere, out of this farmhouse, comes the world's greatest champ. Boxing, like running around, like coming to me and like boxing. And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. And, you know, Muhammad Ali loves magic, so he did, like, all these magic tricks, and he levitated in front of us. And then, instead of saying, nice to see you, I'll go home, he says, let me take you a tour of the farm. And he took us a tour to all the buildings. He had this old little like, barn that Sugar Ray Leonard was practicing in at that time with him, and he showed us all the photos. And then just as we walked back to the van, Muhammad Ali, the world's greatest champ, looks at us, and he says, come inside. And so we go inside his house, we sit in his living room for about 20 minutes, and he has more magic tricks that he wants to show us. And then he had really bad Parkinson's even back then, and so his hands were shaky, and it took him, like, I'm not exaggerating, like 7 minutes to, like, write his name, but he wrote like 10 of these for us, and maybe not 10, but 3 of these for us. We took all these pictures of Muhammad Ali. Years later, my dad put these photos on mugs. He put it on 18 by 24 posters. He put it on T-shirts. He put it, you name it, we have a copy of Muhammad Ali's picture in every kind of way, shape, or form. And what I realized is that if my dad didn't persist, I would have never had that experience of spending an hour and a half with the world's greatest boxer. If Bartimaeus would have not persisted and jumped up and got on his feet and shouted the name of Jesus, he would not have had a life story to tell. New Hope, sometimes you have to do something that may be painful, it may be embarrassing, it may be humiliating. You may not think that you have it inside you to do it, but if it requires you to face this name of Jesus Christ face to face, you got to do whatever it takes to be in God's presence. Are you following me?